Hello and welcome to Just Chopsing Podcast. And today we are with Scarlet Rebel Welsh rocker Wayne Doyle and also my cousin David. How are you doing, Wayne?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're good, man. We've been listening to your album, your first album, obviously, on repeat for the last few days.
Oh, okay.
And David's creaming himself over it at the moment. You're his new favourite band, he said.
Yeah, you sort of like get those moments every now and again where you listen to a band and you think, why haven't I heard these guys before? And obviously Terry said you guys were coming on and stuff, so I started reading into the music and reading up on you, and I've seen kind of like posts coming on Facebook and stuff with you guys, but I hadn't really taken an awful lot of notice, if I'm honest. And then I put your first album on, so Show Your Colours, and I was like, fucking hell, these guys are absolutely awesome. So I messaged my my mate John Hughes, who's told me to give you say hello to tonight. And I said, why don't you tell me about these boys? And he went, yeah, I've only watched them like 20 times. I was like, oh yeah, thanks for that then. You know, obviously don't share the well. So, and I sort of likened it. I watched another Welsh band at Steelhouse called Buffalo Summer. Mm-hmm. And I was like, fucking hell, these guys are amazing. And I sort of like just fell in love with the music and then stalked them for 12 months and went and watched 15 of their shows. So I'm going to be doing the same with you fellas, I think.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The first album is absolutely incredible. It's really, really good.
Thank you.
I was talking to Terry and I was saying this, I can't really liken it to any other band. So I don't know, obviously we'll go into it a little bit later, who your influences are and stuff. But the songs, you know, obviously you've got a couple of ballad or slower songs in there, which I would class as a ballad, and then the upbeat, hardcore, heavy rocking songs. And it's really hard to sort of liken you guys to any of the bands that are out there at the moment, which is good. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously you've got your own sound, and it's great. I really, really like it.
Good, man. I'm pleased. Thank you for discovering us. It's good news.
Yeah, and then I've checked out your new song, which obviously is coming off your new album, Storm. Mm-hmm. That's a hell of a track. Really, really good track as well. And I know Terry's quite interested in your inspiration for that track, and obviously your inspiration for your new album that's coming out.
Yeah, you have a new album coming out, then Wayne called See Through Blue.
Uh-huh.
And it says on your website that it was inspired by corrupt politicians.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to tell us what that's about.
How long have you got?
Well, we know all politicians are corrupt anyway. So
yeah, and do you know? It's a long sort of thing with me, really. That songwriting and lyric writing and kind of putting pen to paper, and I just started to get like a little bit more socially aware, I guess, and as I've got older and started to sort of write about things which are close to home and things that I'm seeing, and just generally, I think like the past 12 to 18 months, you've seen the best and the worst in humanity and people who've moved heaven and earth to help. You've got people in the NHS who have worked, godforsaken hours to try and keep people alive. You've got people in supermarkets who are probably putting
themselves at risk.
Putting themselves at risk. Absolutely. To make sure that people are fed and all that kind of thing, and all those kind of things. And then you've got the people who run the country, who rather than sort of giving it any kind of serious thought to start with when the pandemic happened, they sought to look to sell contracts to their mates to basically feather everybody's own nests and that, and it just goes back a little bit further than that, like this sort of annoyance with Brexit and pushing agendas to try and look, within the band we've got people who are in and out, and that's fine, but I think my annoyance has always come from the fact that it's been nobody voted on anything which was fact-based. It was all, to start with, blatant lies about NHS having £350 million a week and all that stuff. Why wouldn't you vote for that? I certainly, if that was true, that's something that I would have voted for. But, clearly it was absolutely, nonsense. So that sort of started it off, and then pushing for something which I think nobody really had a clue what was going on. And then the pandemic, and just watching, companies saying that they've offered the government PPE, but they weren't interested in taking his PPE because of, they didn't know why. And then so it turns out that, people, Tory donors and whatever else, have all been given contracts for millions and millions of pounds and stuff, so it's just sort of, and it's sick, really. People are making money off the back of people's little misfortune. And I think I sat and watched that through the pandemic, and we had an album which needed to be written and recorded by the end of last year, and it just formed the basis of what I was writing about, really. So I wrote a bunch of songs that were quite pointed. They're not, they're not like angry songs in terms of, the compositions, in terms of the musically. It doesn't sound like Rage Against the Machine or anything. Yeah. It's still quite sort of, melodic and stuff. It's just that the lyrics are quite pointed. And I probably sound a little bit more annoyed than I would normally, because I've just watched a video now from a bunch of people called Led by Donkeys about about what basically, again, people lining their own pockets to other people's misfortune. It just winds me up, and it got me in that headspace, and I wrote a bunch of songs. And I think we were kind of thinking, we could get, this could go one or two ways. And in the end, I thought, knacker it. Some of the best art is made when there's unrest and that kind of thing going around. So yeah, so that's what it's about, basically. It's called See Through Blue because I just thought that the way that the government were acting was transparent and see through, and obviously Conservatives are blue, so that's where the title came from. I think it's a shame that I didn't want to be massively Tory bashing, but because I think everybody's as bad as each other at the moment. There just doesn't seem to be anybody holding anybody else to account. It just seems the perfect opportunity for somebody to try and force some sort of change. But I don't know, I just think everybody's just as bad as the rest. So yeah, it's just frustrating, man. It's just really, it's just frustrating. Yeah, it's do as I say. I actually used the lyric in one of the songs called "Do as I say, not as I do." Because that's literally what it's been. It's, you little minions are not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that, but we'll do whatever the hell we want, Jack, sort of thing. And you can't run. You couldn't run a team of 5 or 6 people with that attitude, let alone try and manage a country through a pandemic with that attitude. So yeah, so it's just been a something that I felt the need to
express.
Yeah, exactly. So
we sound very passionate about it. So
yeah, it is. It gets me at different certain times stuff. I kind of feel, like I said, because of this video that I watched, like I did when I was writing the songs back to start out towards the end of last year. So yeah, it's just I just we're a little tiny little band, which I just felt that somebody needed to say something, and I also felt that by approaching that kind of subject, it might separate our sort of the theme from the different sort of hundreds of bands that are absolutely worthy of people's attention as well. So if we spoke about something which was real, sort of proper social matters, as opposed to wanting to go out and rock all night and drink all night and all that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's kind of where it comes from, really. So yeah. So yeah,
we've spoken to a few bands recently that have gone really the same way, with social unrest, or they feel within themselves that there should be some social unrest. but people are looking over it, and especially with James Kennedy's new album. Or
Yeah.
not
I
so
mean,
new.
he's always been somebody that's James Kennedy. Is something I admire about James, is he's always been one who's, he's not been backward and coming forward in regards to those kind of subject matters. So
Yeah. And we spoke to a guy yesterday from Them Bloody Kids, and he had quite some political messages coming through on their new album as well. So
yeah, cool,
it
man.
seems to be that in the lockdown time, people are feeling it, and people are expressing it through the music. So
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's been it's in terms of being able to, it's been really, really, really horrendous time for countless reasons. But I suppose the good thing that's come of it is the fact that it has potentially lit fires underneath songwriters and poets and whatever else, about being able to express their feelings via whatever art form that takes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, cool. So you're a 5-piece band from Llanelli. I've been away from Wales for too long.
Yeah.
And so who are your influences then?
So we are a 5-piece band we originate in Llanelli, but we got members of the band that don't actually live in Llanelli. We got one Londoner who moved down from London to live in the Mumbles in Swansea. We're not.
Hang on. I was going to ask you about this because I wanted to know if you were all Welsh or not. And if you say no, I would say then Josh isn't the Welsh one.
Correct.
Is that right?
Josh that is right. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's good detective work by me.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry, mate. You can carry on now.
No, it's fine. Yeah. So the good thing about the band is possibly why it's not hard to pinpoint what it is, but I think we've all got different influences within the same big pot of influences, if you know what I mean. So
yeah.
Chris, our lead guitarist, is massive into AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, all the sort of big 80s, 90s sort of rock acts. Our drummer Gary is pretty much the same, like Bon Jovi, Metallica, Pearl Jam. Josh is big into things like Radiohead. The Strokes are a big influence of Josh's. Our bass player P, he's into like David Bowie, Tom Petty, and I'm massively into Bruce Springsteen, Tom Petty. So we've got a bit of a mix, all within the same sort of thing, So we're all big fans of the Foo Fighters, for instance. But my main influence would be Bruce Springsteen. Is my sort of icon. That he's the guy that I look up to the most.
Is
Bruce.
that because he tells a lot of stories in his songs? Are you into like storytelling?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. I think again, he's somebody that has done similar, and I guess really has inspired me to be, to sort of to go down that path a little bit in terms of wearing his heart on his sleeve and writing. He can write songs which are stories. And then similarly, he will write pointed sort of songs at government and whatever else, when he feels the need to. So, and he's just absolutely epic live. I think that's the one thing about Bruce Springsteen is I don't think anybody will ever get it until you see him live. He's incredible, absolutely incredible live act. So I was a big fan, and I saw him live, and I just it was one of the most eye-opening experiences of my life. So it's incredible.
He's just released a single on Spotify, haven't he? Highway to Hell cover.
Yeah, with Tom Morello and
yeah. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of bands doing covers, to be honest. So but it's okay. To be honest with you, I've not really listened to it. So from start to finish. So
no, I didn't either. Turn it off.
I won't pass judgment.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan. Just stick to doing your own stuff, Bruce.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you guys come together then? So I know originally you had a 3-piece band called Void, which I need to check out now this evening. So and then obviously the 2 members then. So I think it was Josh and Chris joined to become Scarlet Rebels.
Yeah. So
when did you start off with Void then? How long was that going for?
So we were Void for a long time, and we struggled to. So there's a few things about being in a band called Void is that there's about 1 million other bands called Void. So it was a long time. So when we're going back to like our early 20s, and we did things like South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. We did a lot of showcases and all that kind of thing as Void as the 3-piece, and we kept basically getting promises and industry promises. I mean, one point we got offered to have our music remixed by some of the guys who worked on Busted, and they were looking for the next pop act.
Yeah.
And we flat out refused. And then a few months later, we were just all thinking, you know what, maybe we should just get our music remixed and see what it sounded like. And then we went back to them, and they basically had in place what they wanted, and that turned out to be McFly. So we've had a lot of we've had showcases, and people want to do this, and everything basically bar an actual concrete offer. Sort of just so we just knocked around for a while, and then because, like I said, there was a lot of bands called Void. We used to spell the band name with a 0, so it meant that when the Spotify age and all that kind of thing came around, and Facebook and social media, because we spelt the name of the band awkwardly, nobody could ever find the name of the band. So we went for a long time trying to just not realizing what it was that was holding us back. And then when we found out that's what it was, because we had people coming up to us after gigs saying, we can't find your band on Facebook. So then I was like, well, give me your phone, you're drunk, let me have a look. And then it didn't come up for me either. And I thought, oh, this is a bit of an issue. So then we basically were just kicking about. And then we just thought, you know what, we need to just give it one last shot. And we advertised for a new guitarist, like a proper lead guitarist. And then we ended up getting a bunch of people interested. And then we auditioned both Chris and Josh, and we liked both of them. And then we thought, you know what, let's do 5 and let's try 5 Earth. So then we did that. We changed the band name to Scarlet Rebels, and then the rest, as they say, is history. So yeah, it was just by pure chance that both Chris and Josh applied for the same position, and we ended up going, let's have both, and they both agreed to join. And so yeah, so it's been really fruitful in terms of being able to write songs together, and because I used to write everything myself, but now Chris and Josh both help with the writing side. So yeah, it's been it's improved me as a musician. It's improved the band tenfold, and yeah, it's good. It's been good. It's been really fruitful. So yeah.
Are they both like as good as each other with a guitar then? Because Chris plays your lead guitar, doesn't he?
Yeah, so Chris is the typical lead guitarist who absolutely loves the limelight and will fight me in the center of the stage for that limelight, to the point where his guitar is almost poking my eye out. Even though I could give him literally 90% of a stage for him,
yeah,
he would still want to take the other 10% that everybody else has stood on. But I think that's what we wanted. He's just a typical, like you said, he's insanely talented, brilliant guitarist, but he's all about guitar. Whereas Josh is he's more rounded in terms of he can play piano, he can do, so he's just got a bit more of a rounded sort of attitude to his music. Whereas Chris is all balls out, shreds, balls out, wants everything to be, fast pacey, blah blah blah. Whereas Josh is, is open to writing more melodic or laid back sort of tunes and stuff. So but it works, that's good. The 5 thing, it works. So yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. All right. So have you signed to E-Rake for this new album, or were you signed to E-Rake before?
So we released Show Your Colours on a Greek record label called Rock of Angels Records, and they were contracted to have another 2 albums from us. And basically, we had approached them with a view to chatting about how this second album, See Through Blue, was going to be released. And if they would do like a pre-order campaign, and to try and just basically to give us a semblance of something tangible that we can sort of draw a line in the sand to say whether we would have hit, a UK top 100 album, a top 20 rock album, something tangible to put on the CV, so that we were moving forward, be it baby steps or giant steps, whatever. And the way that they work is a bit more traditional in terms of they don't like to have this long pre-order campaign. So we weren't really on the same page with it. And then we wrote some sort of politically charged songs on the first album, Show Your Colours, and they weren't overly keen on them. And I pushed to have these songs on the first album. And obviously the second album that we wrote was, it's a lot more, politically charged and a lot more, saying. So I just think I didn't really want to just repeat. I didn't want to go through the same process as we did with Show Your Colours. Show Your Colours was a good start. It was a good, foundation, but I felt that we needed to move on and to try and, like I say, get something tangible from the release. And it looked, from certainly from our side of the coin, that the plan was just to repeat the same thing again. And I was like, I didn't see the point of doing a similar campaign to what we did with Show Your Colours, because, it would have yielded the same results. It would have, had reviews and probably sold, a couple of 100 copies, 1,000 copies or whatever it is. And then that would have been it. And for me, it wouldn't have been enough to move the band where we wanted to go. So we just basically approached them and said, look, it was my decision. I just said, I don't think we're not aligned with how we want, the release to go. And so we agreed to sever the contract. And I didn't really want to waste another body of work, just doing the same thing as we'd done before. So yeah, we came to an agreement, and then once that agreement was once we'd agreed, what it was, we basically shopped the album around to different labels to see who was interested, and then Digby Pearson from Uric Records basically, got in touch to say that he really, really liked the album. He liked the ethos behind it, the See Through Blue thing and all that sort of thing that we were going for, and yeah, they agreed to release the album for us. So okay. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. So
yeah, well, it's sort of a good family to be in at the moment. I mean, they're pretty much smashing it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the bands that they've made, worldwide names like Rival Sons and Black We Smoke, and then you've got obviously Massive Wagons. You've had Barry on the podcast. Yeah. Obviously the Dust Coder and Those Damn Crows as well. Excuse me. They're just doing bits all over the shop. So for us to be on that roster is a massive pat on the back. And yes, I think we're possibly obviously further down the chain than what those bands are. But hopefully, by the time the campaign is done, we'll be a little bit further up, closer to them. So yeah, it's exciting times for us. I think it's good. It's busy.
Yeah,
it's busy, but it's good. It's what we want, and it's just really cool because we've got a really good team behind us and a bunch of people who are as excited about the album as we are. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, if you look at Massive Wagons, I mean, they just like sort of, I know they've been around for a while, but all of a sudden they've just like a massive explosions happened, and massive wagons everywhere. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck's happened here?
They've had a lot of good exposure, haven't they? And they've been on, on the bill of a lot of different festivals as well, same as those damn Crows. So, hopefully it'll happen for you guys as well. And
I don't think you'll be too far behind them, to be honest.
No.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, the thing is, is that both those damn Crows and Massive Wagons have put those yards in. You see, even now, they're both traveling all over, putting the work in to do the live shows and to garner that audience and to cultivate a following. And we've got a similar work ethic. We will play anywhere and everywhere. So, it's all about the breaks of it, really. I mean, I think we're all in the same pot, but we're slightly different. Each of us is slightly different. So yeah, I mean, if we could even do 50% of what they're doing, I'd be absolutely over the moon. But we're as ambitious as we need to be, as we want. We really are serious about what we're doing. But sometimes, life gets in the way, the world gets in the way, and things don't land the way you want them to land. But if it doesn't land favorably for us, it won't be for a lack of trying and a lack of effort. It'll just because them's the breaks, as they say. So.
Well, I can see, I've checked out the gigs you got, and you've got an awful lot of shows coming up now between now and the end of the year. And like we say, we're traveling an awful lot as well. And there's quite a few. I just said to Terry before he came on, there's quite a few. And so you're at Fuel, Hangar 18, Winter Storm. You're at the Tram Shed in December. Is that your headline show in December, the Tram Shed?
No, we're going on tour with Buckcherry in November, December.
Okay.
Yeah, so when we signed to Earache, they signed Buckcherry just before us, and I think one of the plans was just to try and get us on. It was mentioned before when we started speaking to them that that they were speaking to Buckcherry about potentially putting us on tour with them. And again, because we're so long in the tooth, we were kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then it came off, and we're like, oh, okay, that's amazing. So yeah, so we're going to be on tour with them, and I think it's the final date is in the Tram Shed. So it's going to be insane. It's a brilliant venue. I've not played there, but
it's cracking.
By all accounts, it's amazing. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So really, I think it's about 1,000, 1,500 people. I think you can fit in there because they got a bit like the O2 in Bristol. They got a bit of an upstairs bit as well, balcony that looks over the stage. But it's a big room, really big room.
Yeah. And obviously we're doing Cardiff Castle with those Crows at the end of this month. So that's going to be, that literally just came out of the blue. Those Crows just asked us to do it, and we were just like, whoa. So yeah, that's going to be amazing as well. So we've got a lot of gigs, and we've got I think we've already got something like 30, 35 booked for next year as well.
Brilliant.
Cool. Already. So we're going to have a tour to support the album when it's released at the end of January next year. So I think we've got a bunch of dates lined up for that as well. So yeah, it's just we've not announced those dates yet, but I think they're going to be announced after the Castle gig in mid-September, maybe something like that. So
okay. Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
how many? Go on. Sorry, Dave.
Go on.
I was going to say, do you know how many tickets they've sold then for Cardiff Castle?
I do. I don't know whether I'm allowed to say though.
Oh, okay.
I know they had sold out,
and they released more.
And then because the restrictions have changed in Wales, they're able to sell more tickets.
Yeah. So it's not an insignificant amount. There's a lot of tickets that were sold within 24 hours, which was the first allocation. There was talk when we were asked that there was a certain amount of tickets released, and then there would be, if those were sold, there would be another amount of tickets released. If they went through, if they were requested, they went through all the licenses and stuff like that. So they sold the first allocation, which is, you're talking, big numbers. They sold them in the first 24 hours, and then another half of what was originally sold was put on sale for the second bunch of allocation. And I think the last I heard, there was like just over 100 left. But then that was a few days ago. and the rate that they've been selling, I mean, it's going to be sold out. So we're just really pleased to be on there because they seem to be absolutely flying at the moment. The Crows are, so
Yeah, it's like the Stereophonics all over again, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's
but different genre, but
yeah, it's incredible. They're again, they're an absolutely phenomenal band. They're amazing live, and they're really nice guys as well. They're proper, really, really nice guys. They've shared the wealth a little bit. They've had a lot of big gigs that that they've done off their own back, and they've been good enough to share the support acts amongst a lot of other different Welsh bands. So so fair play to them. They've been hugely supportive of us. I was on the Crow Cast with them last week, so yeah, it's good. Okay. It's great. They're just
really we got them coming on next week, is it, Dave?
Yeah,
we got them on next week.
Yeah, I bought my ticket straight away. I gotta be honest, as soon as because I was talking to Shane at Steelhouse, and when I got them on the Monday, they released the tickets for Steelhouse, so I bought those straight away. And then the minute they released the tickets for the Castle, I bought them because I knew they weren't going to be around long.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I saw that you guys have been announced on it as well. So I said to Terry, it's going to be a hell of a night, guys. I can't wait. Chris the thing is, band on as well, which is going to be good.
And they're an amazing band as well. Yeah. So it's a great lineup. It's an absolutely brilliant lineup. But it was a thing for us because we were obviously watching it and we weren't allowed to tell anybody. And we were like, oh man, I would love to be helping promote this show. But then in the end, it didn't matter that, because we didn't need to push it at all, because by the time we were like, oh, we're playing it, it's like, oh, there's no tickets left, sorry. So it's the easiest gig I've ever promoted in my life. We're just like, yeah, we're playing, So it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's good to see Welsh music making a bit of a comeback, really. I mean, it was flying high in the late 2000s. 2010, 2012, you had bands like the Blackout and Kids in Glass Houses, and then unfortunately obviously Lost Prophets were flying high and they were championing a lot of bands, but then that fucking Ian Watkins went and fucked it all up, so by doing things he shouldn't be fucking doing. And then Welsh music sort of like hit the skids for a while.
Yeah,
everybody seemed to be associated with fucking Lost Prophets, and it wasn't really the case, but it did definitely took a fucking nosedive, like.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into that, but in terms of, I just think perhaps it was just music in general kind of, had a bit of a dip, I think, live, not live, but like acoustic based, instruments and just kind of veered off, really. I think, you started to see like things like, X Factor and all that kind of thing cropping up, and I don't know, it's weird. There's definitely been a resurgence in terms of the amount of bands that are around and the sort of gigs and that are being put on by people who like rock music and guitar based music and stuff. So it's good.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good bands.
Yeah, the scene has definitely picked up again. I mean, I don't just mean in Wales, I mean nationally.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But to me, it just, I don't know, it just left a bit of a fucking bit. It obviously left a bit of taste in a lot of people's mouths, to be honest. When the Lost Prophets sort of disbanded, and no fault of their own for the rest of the boys, like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the worst thing about it. Not the worst thing about it. Clearly, it's not the worst thing about it. But for those boys to be associated with that, and they had absolutely, it's just crazy. It's I just can't imagine how you'd feel. But I mean, all that stuff, man. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's fucking depraved. It's so dark. It's just beyond, I think, imaginable, really. That. But I mean, that is bound to have an effect, isn't it? It's bound to have an effect, even if people don't realize it. It's bound to have an effect on, if there was, the scene at the time, and like you said, all those bands, and it is funny that all those bands now don't tend to do a lot. So maybe that is something that.
Yeah, well, they sort of broke up then in most of them.
Yeah.
I don't know what really. I mean, it was just such a shame. I mean, there's some great bands, and I mean, Lost Prophets were a fucking awesome band as well. You know, to be honest, you know, you can't knock them as a band. You know, taking away the crappy side of it. I mean, musically as a band, they were fantastic. But
yeah.
For me, I thought it left a bit of a dent in the scene, and it's nice now to see the resurgence of the bands coming back through the channels from Wales. You know.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many good bands in Wales now. It's weird.
Yeah, well, there's always been a lot of good bands in Wales. That's the thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's, you know, there's some great musicians and some great singers. Well, obviously there's great singers because everyone in Wales can sing, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it was just a shame. It just got fucked up. For me, I felt like it took a bit of a knock, and it was partly associated with that. And then, but now it's nice to see it coming back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, you know, you say like, you know, with Cardiff Castle being sold out by 3 Welsh bands. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's the one Welsh band that have done it, but on the bill there's 3 Welsh bands that are all sort of forging their own way, and you know, and you could have filled that bill 10 times over, you know, with the different bands in Wales. So yeah, it's good. But I like you said, it is nationwide. You know, it's the people that are stepping away from, you know, the kind of movements on Facebook groups like New Wave of Classic Rock, and then you know, the New Wave of Rock and Roll, whatever it is you want to call it. You know, those movements that people are doing, you know, new rock bands, blah blah blah. Because people have just had enough of hearing the same, or not this hearing the same, but just watching, you know, the X Factor and all that kind of thing. I think people just had enough and went, you know what, let's just see what we can garner. And it's just been this little thing that's grown into a scene which has given bands the opportunity to, you know, to tie their hopes and beliefs to, I guess, you know, because we struggled for years as Void with, you know, trying to find an audience of people who liked guitar-based music, which had big choruses. You know, we were told it was out of fashion, and you know, we you know, if we wanted to be a guitar-based band, then it needs to be all sort of more sort of indie type, sort of like Arctic Monkeys type music, you know, a bit more nuanced, clever. But I was just like, you know, we're Welsh and we're loud and proud, and you know, it's all about anthems and big roaring guitars and drums, and yeah, apparently that was at the fashion. So to find, you know, a bunch of people that are interested in hearing the kind of music that we want to write and we want to play, and that's nationwide, you know. So it's a great time to be, you know, in a band. Certainly, it's good.
Yeah, especially in a rock band, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just nice to see, especially when you're watching the likes of like the bands we mentioned, like those Damn Crows, Massive Wagons, the Dust Coda, Mason Hill, and you know, they've all had proper chart success, which is, you know, it's crazy, you know. It's just, but that just goes to show the level of interest there are in the kind of music that we're doing. So it's good. Yeah, it's really good.
It's about time real music came back around, you know.
Definitely.
The fucking Voice and the fucking X Factor and
and it does always go in circles. I mean, it's just a shame that, you know, those circles aren't as big as they used to be. But it just is. There is such an apathy that has just sort of developed amongst people in terms of, and it was before COVID. You know, music venues have been struggling for years and years. You know, to turn around and say that COVID has killed them, it has put, like, you know, the final nail in a lot of coffins. But I mean, let's be fair, you know, they were on the breadline as it was. You know, it's always been difficult. You know, people just have got to the point where they're so comfortable with just being able to, you know, work, spend their money on sort of £6-7 coffees and muffins, you know, on their way home from work, and then sitting in, as opposed to maybe 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that money they were spending, that they now spend on coffee, they were going to the pub with, you know. It just doesn't seem to be there just doesn't seem to be as much people. I don't know. It's just as if, you know, they can't possibly have a late night on a Thursday.
Yeah.
You know, just because they, you know. So I don't know. That just seemed to be a lot of the thing pre-pandemic, and then obviously the pandemic hit, and then everybody was like, "Oh, I'm missing gigs, and I'm doing this and that," and you know, the thing that got everybody through the pandemic was the art. So people were listening to music, reading books, watching films, watching series. You know, all those are, you know, the arts, and it's the one thing that people don't seem to want to back and want to, you know. And when I say people, like, you know, like government and stuff like that, you know, there's the majority. But the people that are watching this right now are obviously interested in what we're doing and what you're doing. So it doesn't sort of apply massively across the board. But in general, I just think there's an apathy in terms of, like, you know, going out, supporting new bands and buying new music and stuff, or there was, you know. So hopefully it's coming back around.
That hopefully everybody's fucking bored of sitting in for 18 months and they need to get out, you know, stop climbing four walls, like.
Yeah, I know. It's just the worry that it's gone the other way, where people have been in for so long, they just think, oh, you know, it's scary going outside to socialise, so we'll just stick to what we know, and just So
I was a bit worried about that, because kind of like before lockdown and the pandemic, you know, the missus would go to, I don't know, maybe 1-2 gigs a week, and you know, we'd be supporting local venues and stuff, and then it'd be some bigger artists, like you said, you know, might be at the tram shed, or you might have to travel a bit.
Yeah.
And because I hadn't been out for 18 months, we had the first one we went to was Steelhouse, and I was thinking, because I was saying to Terry, I don't know how I'm going to be, I hope we're all right and all this. And walked in and seen some of my old gig buddies and everything, and we were all checking if it was fist bumps or hugs and all that. But as soon as like Phil Campbell came on, I was at the front, back hanging on the railings, do you know what I mean? So it's surprising, your brain will flick back to where it was 2 years ago very, very easily. And I felt really, really comfortable, because I'm sort of like in familiar surroundings, talking to familiar people, and it was awesome, absolutely awesome. It didn't take me very long to get back into it, I gotta be honest.
Yeah, that's good. So, you know, that's the hope in it, you know, that everybody, is, like you said, has had a gut full of sitting in watching Emmerdale and EastEnders and whatever else, and just goes, you know what, let's go watch a new band or whatever it is, you know. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we've spent enough time indoors now. It's time to
It's time to get out and fly.
It's time to,
you know, fucking fly like an eagle. All right then, mate. So I think we pretty much covered all your stuff. We had a good moan, because we like having a good moan on this show. I don't know if you
I love a good.
If you ever watch any other shows, we always have a bit of a moan about something.
Got to.
But I usually do a story at the end of the show, and I don't know if you want to stay on for it, if you've got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I got 5 minutes. Go for it.
And I've kept it to a Welsh theme, since all the Welsh boys are on today. And there's a DIY firm called Building Plastics Wales in Pontlanfraith. And he seems to have a bit of a habit going on in his car park, because he checked on his he came outside one day, and it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and he noticed some poo on the floor, you know, in the car park. So he thought, fucking hell, I'll have a look on the CCTV, and I might recognize the guy walking the dog, so I can fucking call him, and I can say, you know, your dog crapped in the car park, come and clean it up.
Yeah.
So he checks on the CCTV, and he's sat there with a cup of coffee, and there's this boy and girl walking home about midnight. Well, it was a man and woman, really. They're walking home about midnight on a Monday night, which is like, you know,
a bit too gig.
Not a Sunday night, it's a Monday night. And the girl gives the fucking guy her handbag, runs around the back of the edge in the car park, and has a fucking shit. Right? So she's obviously a classy chick. She's got no toilet paper or fuck all, you know, typical Welsh girl. And she runs back around and walks off with her boyfriend. And the guy who's watching the CCTV, whose business it is, you know, he's drinking his coffee, and he sees this girl having a shit on the CCTV, spurts his coffee everywhere, you know, and then he can't believe it. So he says, this seems to be a bit of a common theme with my car park, because this is the 4th time it's happened. I don't know if it's been the same girl every time or what. But somebody like shitting in his car park.
It's like dogs, isn't it? It's like a dog. Once you've, once a dog has picked the spot that it likes to poop, it just carries on. So
she's marked her territory now.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's just like she knows what time they're leaving the pub, how long it'll take to get to the car park. She knows how long it's taking to brew.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Fucking terrible. Well, it seems as a DIY film, I thought they could put a portaloo in the car park.
That's what you should do.
It's fucking happy days then, isn't it?
Yeah.
What he should do is leave like a toilet brush with toilet roll on the top of it, and then they'd probably go like, oh fuck, somebody's noticed, and not do it again.
Yeah.
Or it
or
might
just use it.
Oh yeah, or it'll encourage them to do it more. Yeah. Maybe they'll pick that through.
Because it's on CCTV, they should just play it over and over again on a big screen in the window. Say, is this you? People bastards.
People are bonkers, man. When did he say that was?
In Podland Fryth.
And where's that roughly?
Up the road from me.
Yeah, it's not far.
Yeah, so I'm in Cwmbran, so it's
right, okay.
Just across. It's kind of like between Newport and Blackwood area, in that area.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's not far from me.
Yeah, it's on Penn Main Industrial Estate. So that's where Empress Cars and all used to be, around that way, isn't it? Is that Penland Fryth?
I'm not sure.
Remember?
I'm not sure. I know Empress, they had one in Newport and they had one in Aberdeen area as well.
Yeah. So well, since this is the fourth time it's happened, I mean, they need to do something about it.
God, yeah. Just like paint something on the floor to say, like, stop shitting here, you dirty bastard.
Or put a target.
Yeah.
Spray a target.
It's crazy, man. I thought that was gonna go somewhere else, and I didn't. I thought you were gonna say somewhere about like people caught dogging or something. I did not expect it to be that some woman has shat on the floor 4 times.
That's the other road, that is, isn't it? What's the road from Newport that goes up past Raglan and us? Is that A472 or something like that, is it? I think that was a kind of like a favoured dogging spot up there somewhere.
No, is it?
Allegedly.
Yeah. I did that bit out, allegedly, yeah.
All right, then. So we look forward to your album coming out in January, you said?
Yeah, so it's January the 28th next year. So obviously we've got a long pre-order campaign so that we can try and get as many pre-orders in which count to that week of sales when it's released. So in theory, fingers crossed, it means that, that we can land somewhere within the top 100 of the UK album chart, and then hopefully, like I say, we can have something tangible to start building the next stage of Scarlet Rebels on, So
yeah. Well, that's easy for me to remember. That's my mum's birthday, so January 28th.
Cool. Nice Christmas birthday present.
Not for my mum's dead.
Oh, right. Sure. Apologies. Fucking hell.
No, she died a long time ago, so. But I always remember her birthday, obviously. But
yeah.
So nice. So I hope you come back on and have another chat with us when the album comes out then.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Would love to. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
That's great. Thanks for coming on, mate. We're always trying to champion new bands or not new bands, but
it's appreciated. It's thank you. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been good.
Yeah, well, I'll try and catch up with you at the show in Cardiff, and I'm also going to come down to the one in Hangar 18. Because you guys have allowed Who Knows Diddley playing with you down there, and with buddies as well. So we'll come down and support you guys down there as well.
Are they playing with us in Fuel as well? Are they in September?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I'll probably be there and all. I did say, didn't I? I'll start hounding you now.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, he's big mates with Paul as well. So Paul Matthews.
Yeah. And I love the Tram Shed, so I can't remember the date, but hopefully we've got nothing else on, and we'll come down and watch you guys at the Tram Shed.
Yeah, cool, man. That'd be good.
And you'll throw a Just Chopsing t-shirt at you. You can put it on.
Yeah, we got some now, so we'll get you a t-shirt to wear on stage.
Hey, as long as you're not using the car park to shit, we don't care.
No, none of that nonsense.
No,
We're respectable Welsh lads.
We are. That's right. That's why I always go glamping when I go to festivals.
All right, then, mate. Let you go.
Right.
Have your dinner, whatever. Nice speaking
Thanks,
to you.
guys. Yeah, and you.
Catch you again. Thanks, Wayne.
Take it easy. Take it easy,
care,
guys.
Yeah.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra, buddy.
There you go.
That was good.
Yeah, it's nice to have him home. You know me.
Yeah. I know that.
No, he's obviously very passionate about what he does and what he writes about. So,
Yeah.
and comes through in his music.
Well, like I said, I've been listening to the first album today, and it's blown me away. So, if he's obviously a lot more passionate and targeting the second album, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like where he wants to grow from. I'm really looking forward to listening to that, because the first album is epic. And my buddies have told me to check out Void, because they said, the Void albums, they released 3 albums.
Oh, I missed something there, and I should have told him. I was going to tell him, because he was saying that he couldn't find his things. There's millions of bands called Void. So he should have called it the South Wales Void.
Oh, because there's not one of them, is there?
No, obviously not. Well, I don't know if there's a void in South Wales somewhere, but they might be. But
oh, obviously, with our woman shitting is a bit of a void, isn't it? So, not to upset anybody from.
I don't know if there's anybody from Pontland Frouth watching, but it might be your missus, the shitting in the car park.
I've only ever been up there once or twice. I did a hockey course up in Pontland Frouth.
Oh, right, okay.
My hockey leaders course up there.
Oh, okay.
I didn't notice any shit on the AstroTurf, thankfully. So obviously she hadn't been.
That's only in car park.
She hadn't been frequenting there, which is good news.
It's probably gated off.
It was actually.
You can't get in there. You can't let your dog run around on the AstroTurf.
I know, but it was an old one, so it was sand, so it'd be a bit like a cat litter box for her. So she probably would have loved that.
Digging her fucking heels in.
That's right, aye.
Terrible, isn't it?
I know.
All right, yeah. Oh, yeah, mate.
Good.
So, yeah, nice. But not roughly about an hour again, so that's okay. Yeah, nice to have him on.
Yeah,
I think they'll go a long way. I've been listening to stuff as well, and they're a good band. So
yeah, I think so too. Like you said, those damn Crows are kind of like forging the way for a lot of Welsh bands at the moment, I think. And like Wayne said, if they're spreading the love and getting Welsh bands supporting them, which is amazing. So
yeah, it's good. I mean, like I was just saying on the podcast, the Lost Prophets did the same sort of thing. They were bringing all their mates along with them. I mean, the Blackout played with them, and like I said, Kids in Glass Houses and a few other Welsh bands. Yeah, they championed Welsh music at the time, really. In 2010, 2009, 2012. Yeah, and it's just a shame that it went so fucking wrong, really. But
yeah, it happens, though, doesn't it? Sometimes, unfortunately.
Well, not really. Not things like that.
Well, it does. It does. It does.
It did happen, but
yeah. I've never heard of them. I'd heard of the Lost Prophets, but I've never heard their music.
Oh, okay.
And I won't bother listening to it now because of that.
Oh well, you're definitely missing out, because they were a fucking good band, but and that's also a shame, because it's a lot of good music, and it's not the other 4 guys' fault.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? It's just Ian's fucking wrongdoing, and it's unraveled all that good work that they all did as a band, and it's just like, and a lot of people have said the same, and it got taken off a lot of playlists and stuff. Yeah, and it's quite difficult to find on YouTube. I mean, I couldn't find it on fucking Spotify for ages, to be honest. It was on there and then sort of like all disappeared. And it's just a shame, man, because the other guys, they just don't fucking deserve it. And,
we need you need to think of something nice now to end on a good note, because that was a really good interview and we can't end on that.
All right, then. What have you got? Have you got any stories for me? I only go one about shitting in the
I tell you what, we'll end on a good note, right? And I will give a shout out to my nephew who got his results back today or yesterday.
He's AIDS-free.
And he got yeah, and he got 2 distinctions and a merit in his engineering BTEC. And his girlfriend, I don't know what results she got, but she passed all A levels as well. So we'll end on a good note. So shout out to Bradley and Megan. Well done, guys.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well done, Bradley and Megan. That's fantastic news.
Yeah.
And well done for putting the work in.
That's it. It's all good. It's all good.
We're proud of you.
Yes.
All right then, mate.
All right.
Oh, and yeah, okay. Well, I mean, everybody saw you unboxing your stuff on another episode.
Good, isn't it?
I'm glad you liked it.
It's awesome.
And, maybe we can give some away as prizes.
I think I'm going to be fighting people at gigs while I'm wearing it to try and keep it on.
If people want to enter a competition, then and I got to say, I can't find the guy that became our 50th subscriber, because he did message me saying he was going to tell me what I won on our second episode of winning the raffle.
Yeah.
And he said he would listen to it and he would get back to me, because I was going to send him something as a prize.
Okay.
But he never got back to me. So if he's watching this, can you send me an email, please, to support@justchopsing.com, and we will send you a prize.
Yeah, we'll even sign it. I've been practicing a signature now.
Well, you can sign it, because I can't. My arm's not that long.
We're famous. Show me. I'll do it with a left hand.
I know what I could do.
What's that?
You send me a signature via email.
Yeah.
And I'll send a signature, and we'll actually get them printed on the shirts.
Oh, that's cool.
How fucking classy is that?
That is cool, isn't it?
I don't know how we can do it, but
I can hear Sarah making noises in the other room. Does that mean you're the first customer, babe? She said yes. She can't wait. She thinks everybody should buy a Just Chopsing t-shirt. That's what she just said.
Oh well, there you go then.
That's it. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
So I know that's what she said.
So when our 100th customer, fuck's sake, 100th subscriber on YouTube comes along,
yeah,
because we still need 11 more, then maybe you can win a prize. See, we're not bullshitting anymore. We got fucking prizes to give out.
That's right.
They might be worn by David for 3 months before we do it.
There might be some tea stains in the cup as well.
And no good, Neil, don't go making fucking 11 fake accounts.
No, that's it. So we need an 11 more, and then we'll give them a question like you did last time.
Yeah, we'll give them a question just to make sure that they've actually listened to an episode.
Okay.
So it'll be a random question.
Yeah. And
then as long as they email us their details, they'll win a prize.
Cool. That sounds good.
Yes.
Okay.
All right then, mate.
Yeah.
I'll speak to you later.
Okay. Take care.
Ta-ra.
Ciao for now.